Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly Magic update for March 26, 2017 on the Mana Leek. I'm John as always. This week was a little light on news. We didn't get too much, but there's 4 things we're going to talk about right now. Up first is a total fluff piece. Why is it a fluff piece? Because it's about me! My store League finished up. Longer viewers of my channel might remember the time that I did weekly League updates where I posted my deck and my pack that I opened and etc. I stopped doing that because suddenly everybody in the League could watch them and know exactly how my deck worked, and that was a problem. So I don't do League updates anymore. For a very quick overview, my local game store, the Gamers Emporium here in London, Ontario, does a sealed league every set. We have an opening sealed tournament that's normal. Then for 6 weeks, we play 4 matches a week with that same deck, each week opening and adding an optional pack to our pool. There's some limited trading allowed using a point system, and then we go to a playoff. So I spent most of this league in first place, with the exception of only a week or two where I believe Evan kicked me out of first place, but I got it right back and I finished the league up in first place going into the playoffs with a deck that I called Jund Rares and Mythics. I think I only opened a single off-color rare or mythic in all of my packs. I had a deck that included Chandra, a foil Virtuous Gearhulk, a foil and non-foil Battle at the Bridge, a Yahenni, a Rishkar, a Lifecrafter's Bestiary, probably some others that I'm forgetting. I wasn't even playing my foil promo because we used pre-release pack. Lightning Runner, the Cultivator of Blades I wasn't running. I opened an awful lot of red, green, and to some extent black rares and mythics. I also, as I frequently do, didn't really take part in the trading in the league. That's the part that I typically don't really get involved in. Sometimes I'll get some cards that I need, but this time I actually wanted to go hard mode and do no trades. I did eventually do a trade with Laura simply because she wanted to trade. She wanted my Quicksmith Spy that I had, and I traded for a takedown, because I didn't have a way of dealing with flyers, which was her deck, actually, and I knew I needed a takedown, so that was the only trade that I did. The only issues that I was really having in the league were against the 2 decks that were playing Tuskers, because, of course, Tuskers. The decks, due to trading and extra packs, also, of course, had snakes and trains and all of the busted cards that counters deck could have. However, I got super lucky, and massive thanks to Laura. She faced Evan in round 1 and beat him. He had, of course, a Tusker deck. She faced Sean in round 2. He had a Tusker deck. She beat him, and resulted in me and her going to the playoffs, to the finals. And yeah, I ended up taking it down, unfortunately for her. Fortunately for me, my mythics and rares came out really fast, and I took down the league, getting me first place. This is my 3rd or 4th league that I've won, but it's my first one in several sets. I think the last league that I won was like Oath of the Gatewatch, maybe? It's been a while since I've won a league. I'm typically in the top 8. I've actually never missed the top 8, but I don't always win. So it was good to get a win back. Let's see if I can do back-to-back with the Amonkhet League. Next up, Wizards gave us some close-up looks at the upcoming FNM promos for April, May, and June. Now, I won't talk about it too much here because I certainly will have to talk about this at some point in the future, but I like FNM promos even when they're not amazing, super valuable playable cards. If they were the only prizes at my local FNM, I could see being a little upset, but as an extra bonus, I will always take foil alternate art cards regardless of their playability. We'll certainly talk about this at a future point. Anyways, so there's no new announcements of FNM promos, but they did give us these nice full images of the art for Servo Exhibition for April, On License Disintegration for May, and Ether Hub for June. Servo Exhibition looks great. It's very similar to the much older Magic art. It kind of looks mirage-y, vision-y. Looks great. I'm always happy to see old art like that, especially as a promo. On License Disintegration looks weird. The color palette is completely off for a black-red card and looks way more like a blue card. Or, as I've seen suggestions, and I really like this idea, it looks extremely like art that should be used for Consulate Turret. Look at it. It's a Consulate Turret shooting something. Now, of course, Consulate Turret only shoots players, so I would say that it's not outside of the realm of possibility that this art was intended for Consulate Turret at a point when it did in fact hit players, or sorry, when it hit creatures, not just players. And then, of course, at some point they made it a little bit worse, made it only hit players. They still had this art kicking around and said, we can probably use it for on-license disintegration, and went with it. Don't know if it was the right choice. Don't like the art for the card anyways. I like the art in a vacuum. Finally, Ether Hub looks amazing. There's not much else to say. It just looks fantastic, and I want to play a set of them. Up next was a relatively quiet announcement and probably wasn't really intended to be announced this early. Some players joining 1v1 Commander games on Magic Online this week were confused to see their life totals starting at 30 instead of 40. Turns out, 1v1 Commander leagues with a modified ban list and rule set, including a starting life at 30, were potentially going to be announced and released this week. However, they decided they're going to put that off a little bit, but they forgot to take out the 30 life total change. As a result, they had to announce, hey, yeah, we are actually working on this. And since it's in the program and it is a change that will be coming soon, it's going to stay that way. They're not going to put it back up to 40. I would assume that means that we will see these 1v1 Commander weeks or 1v1 leagues in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. Now, I dislike multiplayer Commander. I don't like playing politics at all in Magic. I like playing Magic. As a result, I do actually rather like 1v1 Commander, specifically using the older Dual Commander, also known as French Commander rule set. Now, the group that runs that format made some massive changes lately, and it's made me totally uninterested in the format. But the format as it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, really like it. Hopefully, Wizards' official 1v1 format is close to that old rule set and ban list, including Soul Ring being banned, because that card is utterly unfair in a 1v1 situation. If that's the case, I could definitely see playing some Commander leagues, maybe making content for the channel, so I'm really excited to see where this goes. Finally, for this week, as expected, the Mind vs. Might deck lists were revealed, and unfortunately for everyone's hopes and dreams, Ancestral Visions was not included. What was included was some cool new art for Mind's Desire, The Unspeakable, and Desperate Ritual, which looks fantastic. A few other cards have new art, but I'm not as big a fan of them, especially Guttural Response, which it is a guttural response, but it's not as good as the original art at all. Diving into the deck list, there's nothing super amazing in them from an individual perspective or a value perspective. There's a few Rift Bolts, some other cards worth a few dollars. The MSRP is there and then some. You definitely could not buy these two decks for their MSRP by buying each piece individually. But buying this to get singles, probably not going to be worth it for you. But that's going to lead us to a quick little opinion and reality check that many Magic players need to hear. Very simply put, not everything has to be made for you. Many people are going to be mad that this isn't chock full of, 8 copies of Ancestral Visions for some reason, and other modern staples and etc. But I'll let you in on a little secret. You don't have to buy this. You're under no requirement to purchase these. These two decks look very fun. They'll likely play very nicely against each other. They're likely balanced against each other. They usually are. I quite enjoy the dual decks quite a bit, which is absolutely fantastic for casual kitchen table players, for a couple of friends who want to have a pair of decks to play against each other. They are amazing for introducing somebody to the game so that you're not setting them down with their starter deck against your $1,000 modern deck. There's many players and many situations where these decks will be great to pick up at a relatively cheap MSRP, and that's great. More people playing Magic is great. So remember, when a product, especially a pre-constructed sealed product, comes out, it might not be designed for you, and you don't have to buy it, and that's totally okay. The world will go on, Modern Masters 2019 will come out, and players of all levels will get things for them. So that's going to wrap it up for this week. It was a relatively quiet week. Next week, I would imagine, will be a little bit quiet, and then we're into that little thing known as spoiler season, starting April 3rd, presumably. I will be doing daily spoiler updates videos, so be on the lookout for that. I won't be doing spoilers in the weekly updates. The weekly updates as well, I'm thinking about a few things, maybe spotlighting some of my favorite altars that have shown up for the week, things like that. Definitely, as always, let me know in the comments below what you want to see in these videos, what you want to see on the channel as a whole. Any questions, comments, or suggestions, of course, you can let me know. You can find me on Twitter at @TheManaLeek. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at facebook.com/TheManaLeek, twitch.tv/TheManaLeek, and patreon.com/TheManaLeek. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all next time.